This is going to be the outline for the book of Daniel. Daniel means God is my judge. And the author, obviously Daniel. See Matthew 24:15 for proof. Daniel is taken to Babylon 8 years before Ezekiel. And you can also find things about Daniel in Ezekiel 14:14, 14:20, and 28:3. So Ezekiel knew Daniel. That's interesting. You got 12 chapters, 357 verses, and 11,606 words, or around that. So a quick breakdown. Chapter 1, you got the intro to Daniel and historical perspective of their captivity. Chapter 2, you got where Daniel interprets Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And in the dream, you have the head of gold, and that would be Babylon. The breast and arms of silver would be the Medo-Persian Empire. The belly of brass would be the Grecian Empire. The legs of iron would be the Roman Empire. And the toes, part iron and part clay. That's when the sons of God mix again with the daughters of men, and they don't cleave together. That's going to be the Antichrist kingdom. And then you got the stone cut out of the mountain. The stone cut without hands. Jesus Christ is the stone cut without hands. That's the virgin birth. And that's the kingdom of Jesus Christ that's coming after the tribulation, the millennial kingdom. But we know that he's the stone cut without hands. That's the virgin birth when you say without hands. And Nebuchadnezzar creates, in chapter 3, Nebuchadnezzar creates an image to honor himself. And he wants everybody to worship it. He gets music playing, and when they hear that music playing, they fall down and worship it. And you know the story, the 3 Hebrew boys wouldn't worship, so they got put in the fiery furnace, and they didn't burn. Chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a tree that is cut down, but it's not destroyed, but the stump remains. And Daniel interprets and the dream, and he pretty much lets Nebuchadnezzar know what's going to happen to him, and it comes to pass. Nebuchadnezzar ends up acting like a beast for 7 years, grows hair that looks like eagle's feathers, and he's just like a cow out there in the field eating grass. And he's pretty much acting like an animal for 7 years straight, matching the future 7-year time period when men on earth act like a bunch of brute beasts and animals on earth. And in chapter 5, you got Belshazzar's drunken party. He's the first party animal, and the handwriting on the wall. Chapter 5, you got Daniel gives the meaning of the writing on the wall. We're still in chapter 5 here, giving the meaning of the writing on the wall. And the meaning was, you have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. The kingdom is divided, it cannot stand. It is given to the Medes and Persians. So it was a doom and gloom message that the finger of God wrote on the wall, and Daniel interpreted it. He didn't fix it up and change it and make it prettier than it actually was. And interestingly, this chapter actually follows chapter 7 and 8 historically. Now, chapter 6, you got the famous story, Daniel in the den of lions. Chapter 7, you got talking about the beasts. The lion will be Babylon. The bear is Medo-Persian Empire. The leopard is the Empire of Alexander. And then you got Rome as the 4th beast. And then chapter 8, you got the vision of the ram and he-goat. The ram is Medo-Persia. The horns are Darius and Cyrus. The he-goat is the Grecian Empire. The great horn is Alexander, and the 4 horns are the 4 kingdoms of Greece. Chapter 9, Daniel fasts and prays. Chapter 10, you got Daniel's vision that he has by the river Hiddekel. And then you got Michael the archangel. And then in chapter 11, you got a prophecy of Medo-Persia. And chapter 12, you got the prophecy of the time of trouble, the tribulation. And then in this book, a few more things. Jesus Christ is typified as the stone cut without hands. Daniel 3:24. Daniel is the greatest type of the Holy Ghost in the Bible. Daniel is a captivity book. He was taken captive in 606 BC, the first roundup in 606 BC. A quick little breakdown, chapter 1 through 7. You got prophecies on Gentile nations. That would be the times of the Gentiles. Which would be 606 BC to all the way up to the second coming of Christ is the times of the Gentiles. Then chapters 8 through 12, you got the prophecy on Jewish history. And you could call that times of refreshing. But that's just a quick little outline to the book of Daniel.